Hi, guys. Welcome back to my podcast. I'm your host, Mandy Fairy, or Mango Mandy, whichever you prefer. But we have a new name for the podcast, a new theme, a new esque, a new vibe. I am wearing Maddie Euphoria makeup, but that's just for the TikToks I made earlier. Follow me on TikTok, mango.mandy. I think it was time to make it more unique, more to my vibe, and we just needed to renew it. The new podcast name is Untabooed. The name of my podcast was originally going to be Taboo, but I didn't really like it. We're untabooing topics in society, whether it's this specific episode is untabooing the topics of body hair on women, the concept of preparing yourself for someone in your future or your future man, your future husband, and kind of stuff about the patriarchy that people don't like talking about or don't like recognizing that it is part of the patriarchy and you're just upholding this system that puts women down. And as a woman, I think we should continuously fight against that. Why aren't we uplifting all of us more? But yeah, there's a lot of future episodes with this name Untabooed that are going to fit along with the theme, even religion, or I might talk about how I interpret some parts of the Bible, and I understand some people might not like that, but I'm not here to please people. And that's why this is called Untabooed. We're untabooing the world. I did record this little segment after the fact of me recording this episode, but I low-key just forgot. So if you hear me talking about sugar and spice, I'm sorry. I totally forgot I named it Untabooed and changed everything about it. By everything, I mean literally just the intro. I like it better. Hopefully you guys like it better. I didn't use AI, so props to me, right? Hello, everyone uses AI on their stuff. I don't know any developers. Maybe I actually do. I just have beef with them, so I can't. But so hopefully you guys like my new intro and my makeup, which goes along with the vibe of the new season, I feel like. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Shh. Okay, we're gonna just get into it. I don't even know what I'm gonna name this podcast episode. We're just gonna yap and go from there. Something that's been on my mind lately is this conversation of women saying to other women, oh, you should start taking care of yourself right now or taking care of something about you right now so that later or in the future you'll be ready for when you have your man or you'll have developed that habit for when you are in a relationship. That kind of conversation has always weirded me out a little bit. I understand where people are coming from with that idea and the concept. It's good to build good habits for yourself, but that's the thing, it's for yourself. I think we shouldn't have to change ourselves for this pressure of settling down with someone and the idea that you'll eventually get married. I think there's a lot of conversation with that, especially with recently. What's her name? Let me find her because this is actually something that's kind of fits into this conversation. Some people call her a grifter. They call her a different version of Shiro 777. Is that her name? Shiro 71, that's her name. But not that girl. Wow, I can't remember her name for the life of me. Actually, should I even mention her name? I wouldn't want another woman talking about me or adding fuel to my fire of drama. And she did ask people to respect her privacy, so I'm not gonna name her, but I'm gonna just kind of talk about her situation. And if you know, you know. That kind of category of women where there's a specific one, okay? And she was always preach, don't get married. The system of marriage isn't beneficial to women. Da 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 da. But I have seen videos where she says her exception is like you don't know everyone's specific situation and if it's a good business deal or if it's a good opportunity for the woman to take it. But I feel like that kind of whole concept is like a red pill version of femcells because it's like we're just perceiving men and who they are for just their money, what they can give you. And although I think that is out of survival, and some women might feel or that pressure growing up, I don't think it's a message that should be pushed on because it dehumanizes them. And then we're no better than, I'm not even going to compare the actual incel community because they're way worse. And I'm not equalizing it, but I'm just saying it's a straight path into that same driveway. But with that conversation of like preparing yourself for that, I think if you are someone who doesn't like to get ready every single day, and maybe you would like to, like you see in the best version of yourself is that type of person that gets ready, okay, yeah, then you have some sort of aspiration, ambition within you to want to build the habit. But if you are someone whose best version of themselves is like being in pajamas forever and spending the day in loungewear, then that's your version of making it, so to say. So I don't think people should pressure people into doing anything. I always think that kind of form of thinking is like really silly. And especially within personally the Hispanic community, it's a mindset or a conversation that's had all the time, especially when it comes to body hair, when it comes to habits like cooking, cleaning. And I won't even lie, I'm someone who was very like hardcore fighting against all those conversations growing up. I've come to realize as a 21-year-old woman, cooking and cleaning are essentially survival skills. And I wasn't fighting any system by not doing it. It comes from like your foundation of why you're doing it and what your mindset is while doing it. And that's not to say I made whoever clean for me or cook for me or whatever, but anytime I was pushed to do that for family because I'm a woman, that's something I would not tolerate. And I would make sure they would know I'm not cooking or doing any of that because I'm a woman. Would I do it on my own time? Yes, because that's when I know that, like, they know I'm not doing it because they said so. And, I feel like that fits in really well with, I guess, body hair. I think body hair is super controversial still. Like, in the real world, I would say online, sometimes it depends what kind of online community is, who your audience is, essentially, and what community has found that piece of media where you're talking about it. But I would say, in my experience, speaking to real people outside of social media, it's generally very frowned upon. Anytime, especially when I'm in conversation with men, and I'm not saying that these men are my friends or these men that I've talked to are close to me, but they're real world men that I've spoken to. And I'm not actually going to say men, I'm going to say boys because of their perspective on it. And a lot of them I've met are men where they just understand their place isn't to speak upon. It's not their place to give their opinions of body hair on women. I'm sure they definitely have those conversations in private, one to one with their boys. But that's not my place to, whatever. People can have what kind of conversations they want to have in private. Just don't be putting out a message, a norm that you think everyone should adhere to. And so, there was this moment where I was speaking to a boy, in a group setting, and they made mention, they were kind of talking about a story I think that they were told, and within the story came kind of like a very degrading comment about a woman, a certain girl's body and her body hair. And although I might have my own personal opinions of what I would do in that situation, I think it's so disgusting to add shame onto that almost, because you'll see, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but in my experience, anytime a man's personal area has had hair, there's never a wink about it. Like, you don't ever hear people having as much conversation or debate about it as if a woman would have that exact same amount in the exact same area. Whether it's the stomach, whether it's armpits, whether it's the bikini, whatever, you will just not see the same amount of drama to it. And so this boy was talking about how he didn't find it appealing. And then in that moment, I was looking at him and I realized, okay, you have your own personal preference, but the audacity you have to be in this group of people shaming this woman who we don't know. I don't know. I thought it was crazy, and I think it says a lot about that person's character, what they see, or how their view on women. And it's just, you don't respect them and you don't see them as much human as your boys. It's just, you're a man just taking down a woman like that in public. Ew. What kind of fragile, weak, I don't know, like someone who's secure in themselves, secure in the foundation they've built for themselves with confidence, who they are, and just a secure sense of their core values and morals, wouldn't do that. And I think it's interesting to see that same person a year later claim to have these very high Christian morals. And this isn't me attacking that person, more so genuinely just analyzing their actions and what they've said and giving my perspective on it. I didn't find it tasteful, and although I am a forgiving person and I think people can grow from their mindsets, who's to say that he thinks the same way now? I just think it's a little bit interesting. And unfortunately, I do think a lot of boys might think that way in high school, and that's why like my biggest advice to any young girl, young woman, is to have an insane amount of discernment. And that's not to say you shouldn't trust anyone around you, but the boys will defend the boys, unfortunately. And I don't think that's something that should be done. We should be defending what's good and what's right and what's moral, but there's this weird, it's the patriarchy, right? Especially when it comes to, and I don't want to get too specific in this, it's a certain group of boys, this certain mindset that they have, where it's like that frat boy mindset, that hockey boy mindset. It's like we're all together in this. And if it were put to useful good things, I would commend them on that. Because loyalty, right? It's like that girlhood of it all, but boy version. But it's like you use it for the complete immoral reason. And unfortunately, a lot of guys are like that. A lot of men are like that. Even men that will have girlfriends and claim to love them are the same men where you see their actions towards their woman, and it's like, is she just a live doll for you to build, mold? It's a sort of sense of control in relationships and control over women, where it's like, you guys do realize people are meant to come into your life and be experienced like waves. I genuinely do believe that. I do believe that you will be affected by those around you in a similar way that they kind of move around the world. And Oh my god, should I get into that story time, guys? Yes, I think this is the perfect time for a story time. The whole idea of, I mean, I feel like it's an obvious one and it's nothing revolutionary, but I would like to share my experience on it. And kind of like a cute little story moment of how I learned this lesson of how the people you hang around really do shape you. So I was in, what year was I in? Met this girl in grade 9, and we were just like hella vibes. We were kikiing all the time. She reminded me a lot of me. We both had the same kind of aspirations in the future, so we had a lot of similar stuff in life. And that's kind of where our conversations started from. We had a lot of classes together. That was grade 9, yeah. We had a lot of classes together that year. And I don't know, we just kind of had felt this sense of loyalty between us. I genuinely don't know what it was, but she for real did feel like my sister for that year. And it's like we had just met. It was grade 9. We hadn't known each other for a long time, but I don't know, we got along and we got close super, super quick. And I think it might have been, though, second semester of grade 9. And unfortunately, I didn't have, like, my elementary school friends, I didn't have a lot of classes with them that semester. And I remember I was put into a bunch of classes where I knew no one except for her and maybe 2 other people, but I knew of those 2 other people. I didn't really know them. And she introduced me to a lot of people. I don't know, like I just felt like that girl in, entering high school that year. Like I was like, oh my God, like I'm having so much fun with all these friends and I feel so independent and yada yada. But I did notice a change in myself. Although I would say I was like growing my confidence at that time. I don't know what it is, but being around her made me feel more confident. And it wasn't even like that kind of thing where she had that confidence and it rubbed off on me, because genuinely, and I mean this so sincerely, she was at the moment, and Loki still is, one of the baddest, naturally beautiful people I have ever seen. I'm not talking about personality completely. I'm literally talking about the most shallow, surface level thing. That girl was gorgeous. And like she had the most perfect ringlet curls, clear skin, not even a bump of acne. And at the time, like I was really insecure about my acne and I didn't know how to manage my hair. Like it was just like everything I lacked, she had. And instead of making it into this jealousy kind of theme that a lot of people fall into, I was more so just like, oh my God, like this baddie wants to be friends with me. Like by association, I'm a baddie too. And then genuinely I don't know what that mindset came from, like how I developed that, but that's just what I felt. And it was also the way she moved. I feel like it was like the false confidence it could have been too. Like she would own the space she's in and take it up, and that was something I also admired. I feel like at that time I was afraid to take up space. I was afraid to own the space I was in. I was afraid. I wasn't a loud person. Even to this day, I wouldn't say I'm like loud and out there, but I'm not afraid to get excited and be loud and out there, because there are moments for that and when I am in that kind of mood. But yeah, so I just felt like the baddest bitch. And one of my favorite, I had 2 favorite French teachers in high school, and the second, like my first favorite, I met her in grade 12. She was my grade 12 French teacher, but my grade 9 French teacher, was she my grade 9? I don't know if she's my grade 9 French teacher or my grade 9 geography teacher, one of those, or history, I don't remember. But she was also a baddie, and I loved her. She was like my favorite. I just feel like she understood me on a different level. Like, I don't know, it just felt like we had a very good student teacher relationship where she would always like encourage me to do better. But anytime I asked for like a reference from her or advice or I needed help with something, like she'd always be there. Although there was this one time where she gave me a really, I think I got like, I barely, I don't even think I passed. We had a French test and I studied so hard, but she marked half my shit wrong because she couldn't read my letters and she couldn't tell if my T's were an L or not. And I was like, girl, we're halfway through the semester. You know how I write. And low-key, why would I put an L in that place or why would I put a T in that place? And she was like, I don't care. You guys have to work on your legibility. That was crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That was insane to me. But again, she was one of those teachers that would give you those lessons, and I genuinely did learn from them. And I was like, okay, maybe I do have to improve my writing. But low key, sometimes it did work in my benefit, and sometimes teachers would confuse it and not know how what I wrote and just assume it was right. But like, I get what she was trying to do there. So eventually, I learned my lesson. I didn't hate her after that, but I was really pissed at her. But she was always like encourage me like, Amanda, you need to participate more in class. Like I get it, or you I see you're talking a lot, but I need you to actually be productive. I don't know, she was just like she felt like a good motherly figure to me and almost like protective and not even of just me, but like even other students. You could tell she was a teacher that genuinely cared and wanted to be there and cared about her impact on the students that she was raising or educating, you know. And honestly, like I I have a lot of friends that were struggling through stuff and she just genuinely saw that. She was very observant and she would be like, "Hey, do you want to talk?" and da da da. And she made such an impact on so many students. I would never name her because like I know she wouldn't want to be named, but genuinely my favorite teacher ever. And there was this one time during that era when I was friends with this baddie. She pulled me aside and she was like, Amanda, I just want to talk to you real quick after class. And I was like, yeah, low-key had a little bit of an attitude because I was like, girl, like, I just want to go with my friends. What are you doing? And she was like, I just want to make sure that your friendship with Baddie is a good one. She didn't say Baddie, but we're going to call the girl Baddie. And that she's not kind of impacting you negatively. I just want to make sure you're picking the right people to be friends with and you're not getting influenced by any bad influences, something along the lines of that. And I was like, Miss, you don't gotta worry. Like, I'm chilling. That girl's chilling. Like, we're all good. There's nothing. I was like, what bad influence? She was like, I don't know. I've seen a change in you. And when she said that, I was like, genuinely, my world stopped. And I was like, it was like those moments and That's So Raven where it's like, but instead of like looking into the future, I immediately had a flashback of all my actions in the past couple of months. And I was like, whoa, I actually have changed a lot. And it wasn't that much, but I was just like, I was, I wasn't true to my core self, you know? And I feel like I had pushed aside some of my values and morals for this girl. Like, there was a lot of things she would do that I would not agree with, but I was also like, she's my friend, you know? So it's like, and it got pretty intense. I'm not even gonna lie. Like some of those actions she did, it started pretty on a low tier of how would I even say that? Like low tier illegal activity. Yeah, that's the best way I can put it. Let the record show and be known that this entire video and everything I've said is allegedly. Alleged, not facts. And I may be speaking from first perspective, but it does not relate to anything I've experienced as a character. Without getting into specifics, like very like from the like low tier, I would say she wouldn't be the one getting in trouble. It'd be other people getting in trouble, and then it just started amping. I'm ramping up from there, and even as her friend, I was like, girl. At one point, I was like, girl, it's looking like this isn't maybe a great idea. Are you sure about this? And it just kept getting worse and worse, but I'm not honestly that type of friend that will like stick it with you through and through, and I'm not gonna like dump you at your lowest moment. So I was like, let me just stick it with her. She needs someone to help her through this. Like she doesn't have anyone who understands what she's been through so far. And then that kind of became into an excuse of why she was doing worse stuff. And like a blessing in disguise, COVID hit. Or actually, I don't remember if it was COVID or let me think. That would have been grade 10. Eventually, our friendship moved on into grade 10. We're still besties. We were like closer than ever, literally closer than ever. But I was also in that era, like a goody two shoes. I didn't do much. I was afraid of getting in trouble. After I got in trouble for being late a couple times and my teacher spoke to my parents, I was like, okay, let me get my act up right. And so I was kind of I just didn't do much. And so my friend was doing a lot out here, and I felt like she was kind of outgrowing me in a sense because she wanted people who would join her on these adventures, and I just was never gonna do that. I was honestly, grade 9 and 10 me would have never dreamt. Actually, I did dream about sneaking out, but I had never even thought about it. Like I just knew that would have been that's just a recipe for a bad idea because my mom has always been like very lenient and been like, I just want to know where you are because in case something happens, and kind of facts, like genuinely facts. So I don't know. And like hearing all of her stories and how that ended up, that further encouraged me to not want to do that and not deal with that stress in my life. But for her, it was more so like I feel like she had all these things and secrets and stuff that she was telling me and doing. And then like I was just listening, like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like I totally get why. She kind of wanted to stop being my friend, but she did it in the worst way possible, like hella rude. She high ghosted me out of the blue. COVID hit, and I thought we were still gonna be besties for L. Like genuinely, like I saw us being dentists, going to dental school together in the future. And no, COVID hit. She just completely stopped ignoring my streaks on Snapchat. And I just kept sending it to them because she would tell me sometimes that she would get grounded for like months on end. And I was like, oh yeah, don't worry. Sometimes I'd keep her streak. It was like that kind of vibe. And then no, she would just tell me, oh, I'm grounded, da da da. We would play Roblox one time, I remember during quarantine. It was so much fun. Like, it still felt like we were still besties. And then out of the blue, she just completely stopped responding. Yeah. And then I think like a couple months later, she texted me. She was like, "Stop sending me streaks." And I was like, "Okay." I literally just said, "Okay, yeah, no problem." And then I never heard from her again. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, it was just kind of like a sad fizzling out because truly, even though she had some bad stuff going on and wanted to influence me to worse stuff, not worse, but the same level. Yeah, I don't know. So it was a blessing in disguise because she went on to do crazy stuff right now. I'm not gonna lie. And high key, at the time, I was a little bit influential, I guess, or easily influenced. I would have fallen with her, truly, truly. And then we just stopped being friends. And then really quickly, I was like, wow, you just dropped me like that. That kind of sucks. And then it became very easy to recognize what type of person she was after that. And then my teacher, like literally the next year, she's like, I think after COVID, and she's like, oh, I think it's good you distanced. Da, da, da. I was like, crazy, bitch. That's crazy to say. But facts. Yeah, she is kind of scary right now. I literally don't know how she's getting her source of income type thing. IG presence actually scares me a bit. It gives hella Rue vibes, but like Rue mixed with Maddie, but also mixed with that song, Walk a mile in these Louboutins. They don't know the shit where I'm from. Or like, is that the same one? 16 in Miami. Something like that. Yeah, so that's that story time. And genuinely, life went up from there. Life, well, yeah, because then I just like slowly started cutting off people that weren't good for me, recognizing what a real friendship was, what it wasn't. So yeah, I learned a lot from that. We kind of veered off, but I'm okay with that. Actually, I guess it still flows, it's still a nice segue into our main topic of conversation. Like, the people you're around will influence your beliefs and your perceptions. And I don't blame that guy who said that thing about that girl that I said before, because I do analyze it. I'm like, okay, like I see your upbringing, I see your culture, I see the context of which you're within, and I get it. But it doesn't make it okay to say. And surely, hopefully, maybe he's learned that by now, maybe not, but maybe not actually, maybe not, truly. I don't know. But yeah, so be aware about who you're around and what strong beliefs they harbor within themselves and how that might show up as in y'all's friendship or in subconscious ways it peeks through y'all's hangout. Oh yeah, with body hair and all that stuff, that whole conversation. I don't think you should be doing anything you don't want to do or anything that isn't true to who you are and what you're comfortable with. Dur. But me personally, fighting the patriarchy growing up and whatnot, I realized what works for me, what doesn't work for me, what bothers me, what doesn't bother me. And although body hair never really bothered me growing up at all, as I got older, they just got obviously darker. So I don't know, I just feel so much more. I love the feeling of feeling smooth skin, even when it's on a man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I just like that fresh shave feeling. And because it gives me that boost of confidence and that oomphy, I'm a bad bitch vibe, that's why I do it. So here's some high maintenance things I do to maintain the appearance of low maintenancy. But it's really for me, like the high maintenancy is because I love to feel like a baddie. But I don't like the expenses that it takes to be a baddie, nor the time it takes to be a baddie. Also, again, for the record, I don't think you need to remove your body hair or be a certain way to be a baddie. That is just how I envision myself being a baddie and my highest potential. But that definition is completely different for everyone. And you could be a baddie with a unibrow, you could be a baddie with a little mustache, you could be a baddie with a little goatee. Because baddies come in different forms. There's baddies who have PCOS. There's baddies who just prefer that look, like Frida Kahlo, just to name one. And yeah, I just feel very passionate about that because I feel like when I said this originally when recording, it made sense in my head, but listening to it back, I want to make sure no one gets that message that this is what it takes to be a baddie. A baddie can be a baddie however she looks, however she wants to look. Being a baddie is just a mindset of how you feel. So, first of all, body hair. I'm a hairy ass bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I have Brazilian, Portuguese, Colombian blood and ancestors, and my hair's thick. She's dark and thick, thicker than a mom, honestly. Like, truly, I don't think I've ever seen anyone with. Actually, yes, I have, but no one in my family has as thick a hair I do, except for my father. And like from my father's side, there's Afro Latinos or Afro Brazilians, so it makes sense. But very, very thick, dark hair, and yeah, it's hard to. I'm gonna tell you my journey with hair. My mother would never let me shave before because she said it would come back darker, and was she right? High key, yeah. But also, I got sick and tired of that Nair cream. It was stinky as hell, especially back in 2016, 2017, when I started looking into hair removal and whatnot. on my legs especially. And you know what? Dealt with it. I pulled through. I would literally be like standing in my wash head to toe with cream, just trying not to touch anything because that shit smells so bad. And if there was any kind of residue anywhere in my washroom, it would smell like that for the next week. Hate it. It literally smelled like rotten eggs. And if it works for you, it works for you. If you like it, go ahead. My mother loves it and swears to it to this day. I think I have a little bit of not even a sensitive nose. I can withstand very stinky smells. But when it comes to specific smells like skunk, Nair, obviously, and cigarettes, like cigarette smoke right in my face, I will throw up and gag. So, yeah, I was really struggling back then, and I said, fuck it, we're gonna start shaving. Didn't really want to tell my mom I was shaving because obviously I'm not allowed to. So I didn't even Google it. YouTube was a thing and I didn't use it. And I was just like, I asked my friends, how do y'all shave? Like discreetly because I didn't want them to know I didn't shave either. Like, I don't know why it was such a taboo thing for me, but I just didn't want them to know that I would use Nair or whatever. And honestly, like, I kind of get why I didn't, especially because of the friends I had at the time. And I was a new girl in grade six then. So, like, they weren't really my, like, loyal, deep friends. Like, I didn't fully trust them. And they were that was just a toxic friend group. We always, I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like it's a pattern I've noticed around grade 6 to 8, toxic friend groups. And actually, not even just then, but just friend groups in general can get pretty toxic. And so they would be like, "Oh, what do you mean? I just like put the razor and then shave." And I took that so literally. That night, I went home and grabbed one of my dad's new clean razors from the box, unused, and just literally put the razor to my leg and started going like this. I was like, why the hell does it hurt? There's no way all these people are just saying shaving's so easy and so simple and so da da da. But it feels like this. It was the most unpleasant thing, but I was like, beauty is pain, beauty is uncomfortable. We're just gonna ride it through. And then I think very quickly they started to notice my legs looked really dry and there was a lot of cuts. And I think my friend said to me, who wasn't actually my friend, she hikey hated me all throughout our years and she just pretended to be my friend. She even said on my grade 8 graduation fun fact behind my back that I looked like a baby dressed up going to prom. I'm sorry, that kind of sounds to me like I look like a bad bitch. Like, truly. I imagine that in a baby going to prom, like, she's a baddie. She just looks young. And no shit, I looked young. I was in grade 8. The fuck? You're just mad because you didn't look as good as me. Truly, truly. Honestly, I know people talk shit about that kind of mindset online, but genuinely, the way her and I's friendship ended, that girl was genuinely insecure about everything about her and took it out on other people. So, yeah. Anyways, what was I talking about? Yeah, so then she was like, you don't have to dry shave. I was like, oh yeah, like I knew that. What are you talking about? I just like to do it. She was like, okay, that night, oh, I discovered water and the razor. Amazing. And that razor, it had like an aloe kind of thing, so I didn't feel the need to use soap because it already had its sort of lubricant in there. But what else happened then? Then I moved on to grade 7 and I had a friend. I don't know if she moved in grade 7 or grade 8. I can't remember. Pretty sure grade 7. Yeah. And eventually she was Arab and she taught me sugar waxing. Blessed, but little 12-year-old, 13-year-old me could not figure that out for the life of me. It was this messy mess. So then she just kind of like explained to me razor with soap, razor with conditioner, da da da. Bless that girl. I'm still friends with her to this day. She's a queen. And yeah, that's when I discovered shaving, but I don't know. I was always still like not very good at it. And I only did it if I had to for swimsuits, whatnot. And again, since my hair is just so thick and she grows back so fast, well, did at the time, I would just always avoid it at all costs. Oh, and then I still kind of used Nair for certain stuff like my armpits. And then I also tried it one time on my face because I saw a TikTok of a girl saying it was good to remove facial hair and that peach fuzz. Did it like a week before I had this formal event where it was like, oh my god, it was actually so horrible. It was the week before we had this winter formal dance, and I had a little talking stage thing that literally ended the week. Was it the week before? Yeah, it was so messy. My little situationship ended the week before, and then I was like, I'm gonna look like such a baddie at winter formal. Let me like take away my peach fuzz. And then I got a chemical burn. It wasn't that bad, thank goodness, because the second I felt it like itching, I was like, we gotta take it off. But truly, it always felt itchy to me, so I just kind of like let it burn. I was like, it's working that way, and that's what worked with for my legs and my body. But I didn't realize that the face is a lot more sensitive. And also, they have a different product for the face. They have a Nair facial. Didn't know that before. Rubbed it off, then I got like a fat chemical burn right above my eyebrow here, one above my lip over here, and yeah, it was so rough that day, that week of school. I was like, thank goodness my situationship and I are done because like I don't have to see him. And then the day of formal, and we had like our, is this the story time for now? No, this is a story time for another time. But I definitely want to talk about it because it is so tea. And I think him and his now girlfriend are done. So I don't even think it would be disrespectful. And I think it's honestly kind of funny. It's like hella tea. Like it happened so long ago. I don't think it matters. So that's a story time for another time for sure. But yeah, and then luckily since I did it the week before, it wasn't that bad. I had seen the pictures like a little something. And then after that, yeah, I just stuck to shaving and waxing at like salons for bikini purposes and whatnot. And then into first year university, I started sugar waxing, best decision of my life, and laser. Love my little at home laser. The brand is Kenzie, KENZZI, I think, IPL hand laser. Best thing ever. Although I've had it for years and I feel like I should have no hair by now after using it for years. You have to use it in a very specific thing, and this is what I didn't realize because I kind of like used it, gave up on it, and then started using it, and then forget about it, and then I'm like, oh wait, we actually have to be consistent with this, and then let me just tell you. So up until yesterday, I would either shave and then use the laser right after my shave, but then I noticed sometimes it would burn. And although I know that's normal because it's a flash of thing and it's gonna be hot because it's like doing something to the hair follicle, normally it felt like just like a little pinch, but then sometimes it felt like it was actually burning my skin. And I was like, is it because I maybe didn't shave perfectly down there? Would make sense. So then I was like, logically, let me read the pamphlet, what it says about waxing. I read it very carefully, okay? And it said, shave or wax. Shave, do it right after, make sure your skin is dry. Wax, make sure you wait 24 to 48 hours after waxing to be able to do the lasers. So something about like the skin closing up and the follicles being up there. I don't know. Read that. I was like, okay, cool. Then I started waxing the areas I could wax myself, like my legs, my arms, anywhere where I had peach fuzz. And then I would do the laser a day or two after. Chilling. And I noticed that was the most effective way ever. For example, my thighs, I did a little experiment where I only shaved my like front legs over here because it hurt way too much to do to wax that. Like it genuinely, oh my god, it was horrible. I would only shave those parts of my legs and wax my thighs. And literally that year, I had barely any hair on my thighs. Like, even now, my thigh hair grows so, so slow. It's just, but it's in the areas where I could wax. It's in the top parts. But then behind my thighs, like down here, it grows probably a little bit slower because I still use laser more consistently than this area of my leg. But like, still, the hair up here is so much thinner after I started doing sugar wax. So I was like, sugar wax is the move. It's my vibe. Love it. And then I stopped doing sugar wax for a while because I got not burnt out, but actually I did get burned by it and then it pissed me off. And I didn't know how to handle the really, really hot sugar wax because it is a mess and a process to make. Then I just stuck to shaving again. Got what my wax lady was shitting on me for shaving. And she was like, shaving the worst thing you could do. She was actually giving me a lecture. I felt so as a laser wax, whoever the fuck you are, cosmetology person, like, I just feel like they're always all like, you shouldn't shave, but like, there's ways to deliver that news as a medical professional or a cosmetologist, whatever you want to call them, an aesthetics person. There's ways to deliver stuff to people with urgency and care, and there's other ways to do it where it sounds like you're shaming them. And like, sorry, bitch, I didn't have the money to wax every fucking other week. Like, hello. I was a uni student and I didn't have a car at the time with me at my complex, but God forbid a bitch wants to just find a shaving convenient thing. I don't know. But yeah, I never returned to that wax place again because I hated how they waxed me. I swear, it was like they were torturing me for fun so I could learn my lesson about not shaving. Like, literally, that's what it felt like. Yeah, and then now, fast forward to this day, I shave. I actually still keep that routine. I shave the areas that are just easier to shave rather than wax and use laser. But apparently now I have to use laser like a week after because you're just giving yourself skin damage because your follicle, it's supposed to zap your hair follicle. And there's no follicle of hair in there, it's just an empty pore. But I just don't believe it. Like, my mom was like, you're so stubborn. We're telling you scientifically. And I'm heavy on that. I'm like, show me the proof, show me the research, show me the scientific reasoning behind it. And yet I'm still hard headed because of my own personal self bias and experience. And you know what? I think I'm still gonna do it. I just think I'm gonna end up waiting like a couple days, maybe like 4 days. But yeah, that's my story time. That's my history with dealing with hair removal. Hopefully you can take some advice from this. Some beauty hacks that the celebrities don't want you knowing, even though it's not that much of a secret. All them bitches on Love Island and in their bikinis, kind of reality TV shows, they all get laser done. And then it's like I spread on someone's comment on TikTok. They got it $500 for their entire 12 sessions, and I am looking for that deal. If you are a laser company, hit me up. I would sponsor you, or you could sponsor me, and we can make a video. But yeah, that would just be a blessing. I have my hands laser thingy, but like you have to be so consistent with that for it to work. Doing it every single week, and then once you notice less hair growth, you have to do it like um like every 2 weeks or every month. At that point, like my mom, when she started, she was so consistent with it, and now she like barely grows any hair and does it like once a month. So I mean, I guess that's proof it works, but I don't know, I feel like it works easier for fair skinned people. It even said that on the box. So that's why I don't do it at the highest level because I do have melanin and that's what it targets. And since she's a lot paler than me, like her skin's dark. I don't know, but don't shave, don't do anything out of your comfort just for anyone else. No one's got to know your business. Period. Like, someone's got to know if you enjoy the bush. And if you enjoy the bush and your man doesn't like the bush, he ain't your man. He ain't the one for you because your man Someone who you deserve to be with is someone who will embrace the bush just as much as you. Yeah. Also, random, but I don't like Katy Perry. Apparently, she's like, there's a lot of accusations and allegations against her sexually assaulting people, and she said some random stuff about Japanese women. And I think we should all look into that and be more discerned with who we pay money to go see their concerts. Same with Chris Brown. Song of the week, though. Let me tell you. Oh my gosh. I'm filming this weekend 2 of Coachella. Obviously not there. I think, again, we have better money to be throwing people rather than whoever's organizing Coachella. Because why are their prices so much more higher than 5 years ago? I get inflation, but if we have $1,900 to spend, let's donate a little bit to charity, guys. Mind you, I literally live streamed, watched the performance from my bed. Didn't have to go into a potty shower. Didn't have to do all that. But, to each their own. Can't pocket watch people. But, do you think there's a lot more going on in the world? But, oh my goodness, lordy lord. One of my favorite low-key recent bangers is Malcolm Todd. Yummy, he is so fine. And I've actually listened to his music. I was listening to his discography on shuffle, and oh my god, he just released something new called Breathe. Album cover is crazy. Oh, it was in March. I'm like behind, but I first discovered him in 2022. Oh my god, during his first release. That's crazy. Demos before prom. And literally I found it right before prom. And the hesitating song, I can't play it because I'll get copyrighted, but hesitating has just been, I've loved that song ever since it came out. And then I've never been one to like look into people I listen to. And same with Conan Gray. I listened to him like back in, man, that would have been like 2017, 2018, and never even knew who he was. I just had all his songs. Like there was this one, something about a castle. I don't even remember. Like it's been so long, but yeah. And then I just forget about the people, and then eventually they blow up later. I think I'm like kind of I have this indicator for who's gonna go crazy or insanely famous in a couple of years, and I just have an ear for it. I swear, I'm like, yeah, I ignored Malcolm Todd up until 2023 when he came out with Roommates in 2024. I love his album Sweet Boy. That one is insane. But the one that is like literally, is it Roommates? Yeah, it's Roommates by Malcolm Todd. I think it's the one extra, read all about it, magazine, can't get out of it. Oh, maybe not. Oh, I love it though. I wanna tell you, na na na. Yeah, okay, so apparently that's not the extra one that I was talking about, but anything Malcolm Todd from this album, either Roommates or Sweet Boy, fire. I haven't heard the rest, but I'm going to, so that's you and I's task for this week to listen to more Malcolm Todd, see what he's about. People say he's like the white version of Steve Lacy. Totally see it. The gentrification of Steve Lacy, but is it okay? I don't think I want to say it's okay or not. I will be streaming. Steve Lacy hasn't gone on his grind, so we gotta find something to fill it up. But yeah, what else? Some final thought pieces. Go out in nature, be safe with them, government issued ticks, and maybe that is controversial and conspiracy theorists will be to say, but do your own research. Look into how ticks originated and the carbon 15 isotope. Anyways, I have to get off of conspiracy theorist Instagram, but they do be having facts. I don't listen to just anyone. Have a lovely week, guys. I don't know when I'm going to upload again. You're just going to have to keep track of my account and see what I post. If you want to follow me on my socials, let me tell you, I will be announcing when I post a podcast episode or when I release a new one. So keep track of my Instagram and my TikTok. Let me tell you them right now. So Mandy Loves Mangoes on Instagram, and my TikTok is mango.mandy. What else do I have? YouTube is mango.mandy, 2 Ys, and my Spotify. I wish I could tell you. I actually haven't logged into that in a minute. Although this podcast was previously known as Sugar and Spice, we will be moving forward with a new season. It's still essentially the same concept of the podcast, with the same duality of talking about sweet, self help, growing things, but also a little bit of a gossipy moment, stuff that we aren't really supposed to talk about, but should be talked about, should be normalized. Yeah. I just feel like it goes better with the theme of my life. And yeah, so it's more unique, it's easier to find, and I feel like it leaves a more impressionable mark. I'm gonna go. Have a lovely week. Have the most positive week you can. Enjoy life. Enjoy every second of it. Reminder that it's about the journey, not the destiny. Oh, or the destination. Both though. Random like side tangent. I've been reading the Bible lately, interpreting it my own way. If you guys want, oh my god, these fucking children. If you, yeah, this is my sign to be done. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely week. I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. I know she's a lengthy one, and I know sometimes it's hard to understand my ideas, but we're improving it together. We're expanding our thoughts, our vocabulary, our communication together. Yeah. Bye. I love you.